Hi, my name is Daniel Romero, and I am a member in discernment in the Chicago Metropolitan Association. And this is a story that I've actually not told anyone before, not for any particular reason. I think that perhaps I just haven't been aware that stories like this might be helpful to folks, families of um, people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and questioning, or perhaps for LGBTQ folks themselves. While I'm sitting here in my apartment in Chicago, my story actually begins in Rifle, Colorado, which is a very small town about 190 miles west of Denver. The town was about 2,500 people when I was growing up. It might be about 6 or 7,000 now, but it remains largely unchanged from the way that it was when I grew up. And my story begins when I was in kindergarten, frankly. I had a half a day of school. My kindergarten class was in the afternoons, and I would get up in the morning, generally with my older brothers and sisters. I have six of them. I'm the youngest of seven. And I would have breakfast with them before they went off to school. And one day I watched my brother Leo pick up an orange. And I was just fascinated because Leo took a knife and he peeled this orange all the way around. And I watched and watched and watched and was just mesmerized that by the time he got to the end of peeling this orange, he had one long, continuous orange peel. And for a kindergartner, that's a fascinating challenge. Not necessarily a safe one, but it was certainly fascinating. And so all my brothers and sisters had left for school. I picked up the very same knife that he did. I went and grabbed myself an orange and I tried to replicate this long, continuous orange peel that he had made. My orange peel did not stay all in one piece and, in fact, ended up in several smaller pieces. But the other thing that happened is that I cut my finger. And you're not going to be able to see this with the camera, but I still have a scar right here where I almost sliced my little pinky finger off from trying to do what my brother did. And I ended up going to the hospital and having a couple of stitches placed in it. But that's one memory that I have of my brother Leo. That's a very lasting one. Throughout my growing up, throughout my youth, there were always rumors about Leo and how Leo was gay. And I heard this word gay and I didn't really know what it meant. He was off in college by that point, and there were rumors that he had changed his gender, that he had become a woman, and I didn't really know what that meant. And I remember when I was a little older, my family, my mother and I and my sister went to visit him in Los Angeles, and he had really long hair and he had long eyelashes and he wore a little bit of makeup and he had long fingernails. And so I knew that there was something a little bit different about him, but I just thought that he liked dressing up as a woman or like a woman, but it didn't really bother me at all, even though these rumors persisted and they were always kind of mean-spirited rumors. As I grew up, I ended up going into the military right out of high school, and I missed home. It's the first time I had been away from home, and one of the very first letters that I got in basic training was from my brother Leo, who told me that he missed me. He was living in Chicago at the time, and it made me very, very sad, but it also made me really want to see him more, and we didn't really see each other that much as I was growing up. Eventually, the military actually stationed me just outside of Chicago, and he and I reconnected in a very surprising way, but in a very good way. And within the next year or so, he came out to me that he was gay. He also said to me that this was not something that he wanted me to tell my family about because he knew that they wouldn't accept him. And I could tell from his voice that he was very hurt, that he was very hurt, and he was very afraid. and that he was very ashamed. And he never really, as far as I know, he never really said anything to the rest of our family. Although they knew by that point that he was a gay man, and he lived that way for a very long time. But I knew that there was always a sadness and a fear and a shame that he carried with him throughout his life. Leo ended up changing his name to Victor, which is another story in itself. And he ended up contracting HIV in his early 40s, and he passed away about 15 years ago now. And he died alone. He died, excuse me, he died in his apartment, and he died alone with no one around him. And so I guess what I would like to leave you all with is simply to say that if you're a family member of a person who is LGBTQ, just let them know that they're not alone. And if you are a person who is gay, lesbian, transgendered, bisexual, queer, questioning, that you find a way to create a family and to create a circle of friends and supporters around you that you can always go to no matter what, and allow them to become your family if your family is unable to accept you and to connect with you. I hope that this simple message will resonate in some way with you.